On behalf of the captain and the crew, we'd like to welcome you on board Flight 067, now departing to the Seat 1A world of in-flight essentials. Cabin crew arm doors and cross-check.
Thank you for listening to us today. If this is the first time listening to this podcast, welcome aboard. If you're a returning listener, we're glad you're back. Seat 1A provides tips and tricks from more than 5 million miles worth of flying to help you take off from the crowd.
In today's experience, recorded on the 8th of November, 2022, we are going to take a look at what we take on board.
And then we'll wrap up with a discussion about current events in the world of aviation. Holidays are coming around, Christmas, Black Friday, that kind of thing.
Spend.
And just as a heads up at the start, we currently don't have any advertisers, so, this is not being paid content by anybody.
Yeah. If anyone wants to advertise, please feel free. Bose commercial coming up pretty soon.
Exactly. So we've both had some long flights in the last year, and combinations and things, various parts of the world, long layovers, other things as well. So there's things that we've flown with before pandemic times, and things that we've flown with after, and things that we realize maybe as we become wiser in older age, maybe travel a little different than we did, say, when we were in our late 20s and 30s.
Yeah, absolutely. I remember when I was, when you say first traveling for people like us, it's like way back. But when you're kind of in as we'll just say a young adult.
If you're paying for your own tickets.
Very good. That's a great way to say it. If you're paying for your own ticket. Yeah, I remember just having like some random nonsensical headset, earphones. I don't know. I think I probably just used the pillow if there was one provided by the airline, which back then pretty much every airline did. That's kind of gone away.
And the headphones that were provided were those foam ones, or the stethoscope ones in the ears.
Oh, the stethoscope with like the really crazy circular foam bits. Oh, those were awesome. We gotta look into how those work. It was kind of like
air pressure,
tube pressure. Yeah.
Just like a stethoscope.
This dates us back to when the IFE system was the primary colors projection
on one big screen at the front, and if the guy in the front was standing up, your movie got screwed up.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, since we're on this track, the first item that is ever so critical is, what do you put over or in your ears to deal with sound? And that's going to be clearly a set of noise canceling headphones or earphones or a headset or earbuds. Yeah. I'm a huge fan of the Bose product line. I've had my set of QC15s for, I want to say a decade, well over a decade. Like, I have the originals. In fact, as here we are recording, I'm wearing them. So yeah, they're multi-purpose. Okay. This is my second one, and I have the over the ear and the in ear. The in ear I've already on my second one, just because I wore out the wire so much. But they are amazing, and they're not cheap, that's for sure. But they are well worth the money if you can get your hands on one.
But compounded over time, they hold their value.
Yeah. On a flight, noise comes in all shapes and sizes, whether it be just generic noise from flying and engine and roaring, or annoying passengers nearby.
Of all ages.
And now that I have a young traveler with me that makes that noise, I can appreciate and hope that people around me have noise canceling devices. But it's great. These things, whether it be sitting aft of an engine with full thrust takeoff, puts your mind at ease because it just cancels the noise.
Exactly. Now, there's other ones out there as well. I know a friend of mine who's done a lot of traveling as well. Is a big Sony fan. Other people I know are Sennheiser fans. teach their own. I mean, cost, comfort, feel, whatever. But yeah, I mean, a nice pair definitely removes out those or makes sleeping easier. And I know that sometimes, if you've got a certain situation where you want to listen to certain things on the airline or on the airplane, sometimes, I mean, you can just even plug into the airline's IFE with, say, just a pair of in-ear ones, and then put your over-ear ones over top if you want, or if you're in a nice lie flat or something. I don't think you're going to have your big over-the-ear Bose set while you're trying to sleep in a.
It's funny you mentioned that, because in all the different, first and business classes that I've been in, pretty much all of them, they provide a very nice headset, and there's usually some sort of sponsorship in there, depending on the airline, like powered by, I think one of them even had Beats. Bose is in there a lot, and it is a noise canceling headset, but it's a full over the ear system, clearly for hygienic reasons. But you're right. I mean, you have this wonderful pod, bed, mattress situation, but you can't wear these monster things.
Yes, you try to roll if you're not a back sleeper.
But I guess the theory is that you've enjoyed so much of the fine beverages being offered that what does it matter about the noise? You're just pretty much passing out.
And good food, multi-course food and everything else.
Yeah. You mentioned Sennheiser and Sony. Yeah. I think one of my first pairs long ago was a Sennheiser, and they were very good. They continue to make good stuff. I've actually personally find Sony is kind of so-so in various forms. I've had, whether it be earbuds, over the ear, different versions. But then when you look at their price point, it's definitely a lot more affordable than a pair of Bose.
Yeah.
So, I mean, Altic Lansing has them. So many others have them. So when you're out there, if you're looking for gift ideas, shopping ideas, noise canceling headphones are huge. But one thing to note, there's two different technologies. There's noise reduction and there's noise canceling. So noise canceling actively cancels said noise. Like, there's an actual processor that will
match up the white noise on the outside to the inside coming into the ear.
Yeah. Whereas noise reduction just simply reduces the volume of what's coming in, or sometimes they use physical blocks. So you look at a lot of these earbuds that people wear, they're like filling the ear cavity, whether it be like with the rubber fitting and stuff. Well, technically it's noise reducing because you're just blocking.
Yeah, excess noise and having whatever left over for yourself.
Yeah. But if you get your hands on something that actually has a battery to operate something that has an on switch, then you're talking proper active noise canceling.
Yeah.
Which we both highly recommend. I mean, yeah, years and years of flying with these things. And the actual sound quality is great. You want to watch these movies on these planes, whether you're in economy class all the way up to business and first, and you have these very nice screens. It's kind of cool to have a good set of audio to watch it with.
It's true. Or I mean, some of the selections they make in the sound catalog as well. Songs and whatever else that they decide to pick.
Yeah, but going along with that, mentioned plugging into this onboard system, a set of adapters. So again, depending on the airline, the age of the aircraft, a lot of the older systems they would try to be proprietary, so that you were forced to buy the airline provided headset because it had the dual prong for the most part. I mean, you can get a dual prong to single prong adapter pretty much anywhere. Good to have in the kit because you never know where. And then another thing that happens, I often find this with the premium economy and forward, where they are providing, a nice headset, but it won't be as nice as your own one. They'll have like some sort of triangular or odd shaped connector or port in the seat or in the pod. You could actually plug into that if you just find the right hole, right? It's just a matter of jostling it around and getting it right. So yeah, keep an eye. These things generally come on sale, whether it be on Amazon or wherever you find your tech.
Yeah.
Well worth it.
Exactly. And I mean, you look at different airlines. I mean, they've got Wi-Fi for stuff to like get into like online, but your movies or the sound is probably not going to be able to be picked up with a Wi-Fi signal.
Exactly. So that leads us into our next item that you should look into if you want to give to someone is what does someone use to watch on board? Now, those of us that have flown for many years, you kind of expect that a decent airline will have a screen in the back seat back. That's just part of the in-flight entertainment system. I mean, the older planes would be a drop down and everyone watches some sort of communal screen. But a lot of airlines, especially your low cost carriers, or even doesn't have to be ultra low cost, but just kind of your, how do we say, basic carriers in any way, have no screens in the seat backs because that's a huge amount of spend of infrastructure on an aircraft to put a screen
both
in
on weight and just maintenance.
Yeah. So what they do is they rely on the fact that passengers will have their own device and will connect to the in-house Wi-Fi, not internet Wi-Fi, but just network, and then be able to watch stored content that's there. So in today's age, I mean, a lot of people have smartphones, but also there's a lot of people that don't. Whether it be a tablet, whether it be an iPad, whether it be a Samsung device, anything, all these things can connect. And it's hilarious. I remember when I worked for WestJet, we were one of the first to bring out this sort of no seat back system and plug in. But it also meant that you needed the WestJet app updated and active
right. Yeah.
before you go off or go offline. So we'd have to make these announcements. Make sure you download the current version of the app in order to access the system. Inevitably, there were people that just did not. So,
and I remember being on like certain WestJet flights. You're like, well, is there a screen on this one, or is there not a screen on this one? So it's like,
yeah, mixed, right?
Yeah.
And actually, with them, it was really mixed because their first version of in-flight entertainment was television.
Yeah, it was like
actual
what,
television
TV or something, or Dish or something, right?
It was actually out of, I want to say Bell.
Okay.
Actually, with Bell TV, which is a Canadian network provider, with the credit card swipe thing.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Watch the screen on like this little 6-inch screen. It was a terrible waste of money. But anyway, now with this no screen system, you see people, I mean, if you're prepared, you would have an iPad or something, but you couldn't watch it on a laptop because the app doesn't, or maybe it does now.
Yeah, you couldn't do the app on your laptop. You could only do it on your phone, right?
Yeah, or tablet is the biggest thing. Or your
tablet, yeah.
Or then you'd also see people with, a small, let's say, iPhone 5 or something,
trying to
watching the Avengers or something, and the poor person's like squinting to see, and it's like, well, boy, what do you do?
Yeah.
So, I always travel with something to watch something, tablet, or depends which phone I have, I guess. My work phone is quite big, but then the other problem is you may have all these devices. How do you physically watch it properly without holding it with your hand in front of you? And you see people getting up to all sorts of interesting gadgets and trickery. And, you see hacks online of folding the sickness bag or propping it, all these hooks and handles and things. Quite funny to watch.
And then, of course, to go with these devices, because if you're on a long flight or have a long layover and, you may be having issues trying to find somewhere to plug in, what do you have for like power banks and other things like that?
No kidding. I mean, we talk a lot about how to deal with, irregular operations and delays and stuff. And it's nothing worse than your battery levels starting to trickle down when you're in the thick of a long delay or you're stuck on board the aircraft out on the tarmac with no connection. So yes, having a power bank of some sort is vital. And also make sure the power bank is charged.
Yes. And then I know you as a habit when you're on the flight, you keep something plugged in pretty much the entire flight.
Yeah. In economy, there's generally at least always one power port. There's also power ports that are attached to the screens, but people sometimes think that those provide charging power, but they don't. It's actually just a connection port. So a couple things to know. And then those plug ports under the seat, they work in something called a daisy chain system. So the first person to plug in will dominate the draw on power, and then anyone thereafter starts to get sectioned off with what's left. But yes, I always plug in, and even if if it's 9-10 hour flight, my phone is charged within the first hour, I just let it sit.
Yeah.
because you never know what's going to happen midway down or when you arrive or who knows what. Or there's nothing worse than just being disconnected in today's age.
Yeah.
We're talking the first world problem here.
Yeah, as you get to like an airport and it's like, well, I need to figure out where I am, find a Wi-Fi, and it's like, oh man, I got like 3%.
Yeah, exactly. And it doesn't have to be devices that, give you connectivity. Like ebooks
Mhm.
are also part of this. Because again, we keep talking about delays and wasting time and stress. Well, you look at the people that are stressed because they have nothing to do.
Mhm.
And then you kind of look around, you see people that are accepting the fact that they have to sit or do whatever for X amount of hours. And they're reading a book and just happily in their own world. So every situation is different, but can't stress enough to have a device or a book.
Have an offline device to go with your online devices, or your a non-electronic device to go with your electronic devices.
Yeah, I actually have a book, an actual paper book. It's taking me years to read because I only read it when I
On
find I'm
flights.
in flights or I have like this sort of awkward amount of time or if it's delay. And then I pull it, I'm like, oh yeah, that story. Let's continue on. When did I read this? Oh, it's been 18 months. Okay. Well, what's so and so up to?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or say like a collection of short stories or something.
Yeah. So we're straying a bit off course here, but for the holiday gift giving and essentials list, again, devices in whatever way, shape, or form. If you have devices, think about how you're going to situate them, especially if you're on a flight that has a proper meal service.
Yeah.
You're sitting there with your 10-inch iPad Pro propped up on the tray table watching. Suddenly the meal shows up.
Yeah.
Do
What are
you
you gonna
stop
do?
your movie or what? Like,
Yeah.
yeah, how's this going to work? Because there's only so much space. So things to think about there. Next up is comfort. So a neck pillow of some sort. Again, critical piece. So
Yes,
many different
and I mean
versions.
some airlines, especially you look at videos of old 757s and DC-9s and DC-10s and old A300s. It's like, yeah, they had the big gigantic
Yeah, the
sofa-sized
monster
pillows.
bolstered. Yeah, exactly. Or the seat back was like built up with
Yeah,
like these huge, thick neck head areas.
yeah, it was almost like a bed or like a box spring on in your aircraft seat.
That's a great way to put it. Yeah. Whereas now, and seat back cushions are like what, 2 inches, if
Yeah, the
that,
most, and
the most.
for like where your head is, it's like you get those foldable wings, sort of
Hmm.
that they're maybe an inch or two, 5 centimeters thick at the best,
Yeah.
at least in economy and premium economy.
The product I have used in for years, I think I'm on my third or fourth one now, is called the Bucky. And that means it's filled with buckwheat husk. So that's the product that I use. There's different sizes. It's great. I've taken it around the world, all over the
And back.
place. Yeah, exactly. It's a bit, I don't want to say bulky. Like if you're comparing it to like these inflatable jobs, we're talking like an actual pillow, or sorry, neck pillow, the moon shape kind of thing. But it's flexible. You can push the
Hang it
stuff
off of stuff.
around and it breathes. That's the nice thing. Sometimes you get these things and they don't breathe, and you wake up midway through and your neck is like wet from sweat.
Clammy, and yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you see people come on board. I've seen this so many times. Again, depending on the part of the world, they're bringing like their pillow from their
From home.
house.
Yeah.
And it's like this huge thing. I don't know where they think they're going to put it. And I'm sorry, but that's amateur hour.
Yeah. Well, that
And
was
the
like,
pillowcase to go
traveling
with.
like most of the time I see that as like people are like in their 20s or like teenagers. I mean, I don't see it usually with people over the age of 30.
This is true. This is true. So to avoid that, really, you just want something to hold your neck from flopping or dropping or be able to put your head back to catch a few Z's.
Yeah.
I mean, a Bucky again is, you pay a bit more, but a neck pillow is dime a dozen. You can get it dollar store, pound shop. They're around.
Yeah.
The inflatable ones, I remember experimenting with those and they're okay.
I mean, I've had one for quite a while. I mean, There are times that it's like, all right, it's good, and sometimes I'm just like, I don't care. But it could also because I'm tall enough and I fit perfectly fine into the headrest.
Yeah, yeah. When I was in Copenhagen in 2014 or so, going through with friends, shops, etc., and came across this one product that apparently was some sort of neck pillow. And I'm staring at it. It looked like a modern, to me, looking version of the strap that our parents would have beat us with if we got in trouble. Like
Okay, yikes.
sort of rectangle
Or
thing.
a industrial quality coat hanger.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm staring at it. I'm like, okay, it was supposed to be the next revolution in, neck pillowing. And the way it was supposed to work is you're supposed to bend it to the curvature of your neck and put it vertically, like head to spine
Okay.
versus lateral, shoulder to shoulder.
Oh, so it's that long? It's like
Well, let's say 1 foot, 12
okay.
inches, or 30
Yeah.
centimeters. So you bend it and then you kind of just rest your neck against it. I'm like, wow, this is interesting. So I bought it on a whim, thinking, my goodness, I have the next best thing. First flight out, Copenhagen to Heathrow, tried it. I was like, why did I just spend my money on this garbage? But it did not work. I still have it in the tickle trunk because I'm like, well, I paid a lot of money for it, so I guess I should keep it. Yeah, it was interesting. I can see the logic they were going for, but I think maybe it need to have been wider or something to just hold your whole head. Yeah, that was an odd one for sure.
Cool. And then, other comforts. I mean, and we've talked about, hygiene on planes. And yes, I mean, seat pockets and things are, dirty at the seat. But, the nastiest thing is when people are walking barefoot into the lavatory.
Don't even get me started. Oh, dear. As crew, you just kind of stand there and
footwear.
Oh, yeah. So one of the tricks that I do is I always have, because wearing your street shoes, I mean, depending on the shoe you have or what your comfort level, I just find it uncomfortable. And, we're talking long haul flights. I want to take it off and relax. But I always have some sort of disposable slipper. And by that, I mean the ones that you find in business class at first. Or, I mean, you don't have to be a high flyer to get those. Hotels, you can get them anywhere, just kind of like those cheapy things. And I will wear that into these bathrooms and back, and I will throw them away at the end of the flight. Like, they're done. I'm not carrying that with me.
Or what about like in amenity kits when you get like socks?
Yeah, if I have the option to change sock, I'll change into said sock, and then at least my socks are fresh, and have that with the slipper. Yeah, depending on the airline and whatnot, you just never know where you're going to walk. And I don't know, people seem to think that the aircraft, the cabin floor is clean. Well, all it ever gets is a quick vacuum.
Yeah.
These planes are just
it probably doesn't
sometimes.
get a good solid cleaning until like there's like at least one of the A check or C check or B check kind of thing, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Where they're actually probably just replacing the carpet, most likely.
Yeah. Or pulling it apart and saying, wow, look at all the grub.
Yeah, exactly. So when it comes to footwear, that's something to keep in mind, whether you want to like just have a set of interesting cozy slippers to have or something. But yeah, just don't go barefoot on the plane, please. That's not a Seat 1A recommended activity, that's for sure.
And I'm sure you must have seen, doing the hotspot flights and things, the people wearing footwear that was not appropriate when they returned back to Canada after being in Cuba or Mexico or Jamaica or something.
Well, yeah. I mean, you can say if you have the space and weight to carry a bunch of sandals or flip flops because you can easily wash them. That's true. But yes, working in Canada winter, and I would send these flights out to all the hotspots, like as you said, and the flights would come back, and it'd be usually quite late, like 2200 onwards, and be like minus 40 outside, and people would, we'd open the aircraft door, and there'd be people standing there in sleeveless tops, shorts, bathing suits, and coming off wearing flip-flop sandals onto this frozen jet bridge where we're standing there pretty much in parkas and screaming, oh my goodness,
25
it's cold.
Below or something, right?
Yeah, I'm like, where did you think you were flying to? Like, there were two categories. There were those fools that did that, And then you'd see people that were fully changed. They had their change on board. They changed in the plane, and they came off in whatever
Winter wear.
jeans, etc. Winter wear. Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's always funny when you see the flip flop situation or the sandal situation as to what they're up to.
And then myself as well, like, for a number of years, especially when shoes were a big issue, still in Canada and in the US, made sure that I had a pair of, Bloodstone style of shoe without any laces, because it's like, yeah, it's easy to take them off for comfort on the plane. But I mean, also at security, if you have to take off your shoes, the last thing you want to worry about is the laces.
Absolutely. Yep. Yep. I've traveled with my Blundstones again around the world, same sort of thing. And when you go to, your feet swell, your body swells in the air. And when you go to put the footwear on, hour, 30 minutes before landing, whatever it's going to be, you're standing there struggling. So
yeah,
definitely something to keep in mind. One thing we missed actually is, with all these devices and things we're talking about, and yes, we said carry the power bank, but also carry a AA or AAA battery or some sort, because that's generally what they're all powered from.
Right. Yeah. That if you got a power switch on your headphones, I mean, it's not coming from some sort of power plugged in somewhere.
Yeah. And depending on the set that you have, I think most of the newer ones have the passive noise where you activate the noise canceling. So it's meaning if your battery for your noise canceling dies, you can still hear things, whether you're plugged into your own device or onto the system. But like the set I'm wearing, the original Bose, if there's no power, it's dead. You can't use it for anything.
Mm-hmm.
So something to keep an eye on.
And the other thing, talking about like, power banks and things and charging as well is, depending where you go in the world. And back in the day, you used to have a bag or a box full of who knows how many attachments to go with your plugs. But, there are the all-in-one multi-plugs now where you just sort of, all right, well, I need the British style, I need the Euro style, I need the German style, the French style, the Italian style, the Israeli style. It's like, you just click, 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 click kind of thing, and away you go. And it was so nice when I was traveling, because it was like, all right, just pop it out, plug in the Canadian, the North American 2 flat prongs, and then whatever other end comes out the other side goes into the wall. So
it's funny you mentioned that. I was clearing out a bin of older travel gear, and I had like this Philips set from like 25 years ago of all the different plug heads, and then the big heavy wattage adapter.
Oh geez, yeah.
Which I was
back
like,
for like when you had to plug in your laptop and have the
when nothing was voltage ranged, which now everything pretty much is, or it's just USB connections. So tech has changed.
If you're liking this episode experience, you may also enjoy Experience 26. More from the mailbag. The baggage above you, overhead bins. It's available wherever you listen to your podcasts.
So we've gone through that. So let's go into the bags. The bags are huge, and we don't have to go in too much about everyone's carry-on is different.
Mm-hmm.
We all have our opinions as to what works, what doesn't. But one thing that's interesting is to have some sort of bag for the seat, to keep all this nonsense we're telling you to go out and spend your money on. It's one thing to have your carry-on in and under the seat, but what I find useful is having some sort of pouch type thing to manage my seat pocket or pod or area. Yeah, because
like, if you're sleeping or stuff, it's like, do I want my wallet here? Do I want my phone here? Like, it's a glasses wear. Like, what do I do with my glasses? That kind of thing, right? So
that's huge. Yeah, absolutely. So various shapes and sizes. I can't remember if we told the story of the one time I got upgraded on Cathay after the lights had gone
part
down.
Of it once, yeah,
and
you had to like gather all your stuff and like
to gather all the stuff. Yeah, luckily I had some sort of pouch, and I was just like throwing stuff in, hoping and keeping in mental image. I'm like, I think I got everything. I think I remember putting this get, and put it in. And also, we talked about hygiene. Seat pockets, not a great
nastiest places on the
airplane
for hygiene, for germs.
And I've cleaned seat pockets galore when I would groom after a flight. People put their dirty tissues, napkins, food, diapers. It all goes in there. And again, nobody the definition from an airline of cleaning a seat pocket is removing
Cleaning it
everything
out.
but the magazine and the safety card.
Yeah.
Yeah, removing physical things you can see. No one really wipes it down with antiseptic or anything until it goes, as you said, into like a full check or a deep clean of the plane, which happens once in a while.
Yeah. And especially, I mean, during holiday periods when a whole pile more travelers are traveling and, all sorts of other things going on, it's like, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Now, one thing, if you are someone that uses a rollerboard carry-on suitcase, check on your wheels. This might be a good gift idea for someone if you want to advance their level of travel savviness, or maybe just for yourself. One thing I did with my crew bag is I got rid of the wheels and put rollerblade wheels in.
Mm-hmm.
So I took the bag to a rollerblade supply shop and said, "Hey, what can we do here?" He's like, "Right." So we changed the bearings and the wheel itself.
Yeah.
And boy, that was one of the best things I did, because that took the strain off of me and the bag in some ways. The rollability was amazing. And it was great. Bumps, ruts, going
Yeah.
over doorways. Simple thing to do. I mean, it just takes a bit of mechanics to unscrew and remove a wheel. And yeah.
And it's like, well, my bag, I've got a luggage works, and I was just checking the receipt before we recorded, and it's like 2008, but I had like, rollerblade or in-blade wheels. And yeah, I mean, everything on the bag is based on the website. Like, I can order every single piece and replace it myself if I feel like it. So
Fantastic. Yeah.
at some point, yeah, the wheels will probably have to be put in, but I mean, and the foam handle and stuff. But yeah, so yeah, totally agree with, having nice wheels, and then seeing people who are trying to drag their whatever around the airport and their wheels are tiny. And it's like, well, you'd be better just having a set of, Teflon skis or something on your luggage
Yeah,
or something.
that's right. Or the default wheel that they bought for the cheap luggage has cracked and they're
Yes.
scraping and the things, but they have no other option.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
heck, I was in that position. I mean, my bags, the reason why I got the luggage works was my bag broke in Minneapolis. And I'm sitting there and I'm just looking at all the crew like, what are you using as your luggage? Because I don't want to ever have this happen to me again.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. We talked about comfort, and we can briefly say some sort of loungewear is great to have on long haul flights. I always have the same thing that I wear on all my long haul flights. When the seatbelt sign goes off, I'll go in, put on those special slippers,
There you go.
change, fly, and then change back at the end. Make sure it's slim and thin. Because again, you never know, is an airline providing a blanket? Is it not?
Mhm.
So to each their own and how much comfort, but having something to wear on board. Now, again, if you're flying in a premium class, you probably get a pajama set, which is great, but
Yeah, just
often
in
not.
case. And
Yeah.
and I mean, just as general practice, I know myself, whenever I fly, it's like, all right, even if I'm checking in a bag, it's like, all right, there's always, a set of, clean shirt, socks, underwear that are with me just in case everything else goes. At least I can be fresh at the base level.
It's funny you mentioned that. There was always one set of boxer shorts that I had wrapped up in my crew bag in the same theory. You never know when. Fortunately, I never had to use it. And then one day I did a full switch bag or whatever. I was like, what is? I forgot it was there. And the thing was folded up for so long, for years, that I pulled it out, opened it. It was like opening like a present. It was like hard folded. It was great.
Crazy.
Yeah. So fortunately, I didn't have to use that. But with that, though, you never know what'll happen in flight. And we're talking like severe turbulence, someone spills something, and you may have to change something you're wearing. And but also you don't want to throw away clothing that you have. A
Mhm.
Ziploc bag just layered in somewhere. Very good idea. And here's a fun story. There was I can't remember where, but it was a long haul flight. And the gentleman in front, I think he was in front. He was sitting there, aisle seat, and someone noticed. I mean, maybe I was 2 aisles around. I can't remember, but somehow I kind of saw something going on. There was like this rich orange drip coming from the overhead bin.
Oh, yes.
And it was like going onto his shoulder, not like pouring, but just kind of like a drip,
Dripping. Yeah.
drip. drip.
Yeah.
Eventually, it got to the point that it made him notice, or maybe someone told him, I can't remember. And it was oil cooking from some sort of thing. And what it was in someone's bag above was a classic Indian lime pickle chutney
Yeah,
type thing.
on the shoulder.
And it was poorly
Really sealed.
packaged, sealed, not sealed, penetrated all through.
Oh,
And that means it also penetrated everything in the overhead bin, made its way to a particular seam joint,
and dripped out the seam.
lo and behold, dripped onto yeah. So this poor guy didn't have a shirt to wear. Well, I think the crew probably went and got him a premium class pajama shirt, something.
Yeah.
But now his shirt, in this case, his shirt was probably ruined. There's no way you're going to get that stain out.
Yeah, yeah.
Of course, it was a lighter color. So, but yeah, you want to have a Ziploc bag because again, you never know.
And myself, it's always like, just an extra large freezer style bag, nice and thick, can take a lot of pressure no matter the situation. So I usually have one or two stuffed in.
Yeah, exactly. Other than that, most of the stuff is kind of teach their own, just in terms of preparedness. But these are kind of like,
and you use, like, speaking of like bags, you use like packing cubes or packing bags inside of your suitcase, right?
Oh yes, all the time, every single trip, without fail. For my checked and for my carry-on, yeah, packing cubes are huge. And there's two types. There's the we'll say the flimsy type, and then those that have structure. I always use the ones with structure because it actually keeps compartmentalized. And there's nothing worse than being at security and they're like, open up, especially if you're checked, if it's customs, and all your clothes are just there for the world to see.
Yeah.
And they're not going for your clothes. They want to dig through and find whatever else has triggered them. And, you look around, you see people in everything from their underwear to their dress clothes, is all just coming out. And then you have to put it all back.
Yeah.
That's why I love the cubes, because I'm like, yep, pull the cubes, find what you're looking for. Yeah, no, okay. It was just I don't know.
False positive.
Yeah, that's right. That means a lot these days. And bang, 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 cubes go back in, end of discussion, and in and out.
Yeah.
Yeah, good thing you remind on that one. That's a big one.
And I think at one point you also mentioned sometimes you use those cubes as pillows in worst case scenarios.
Yeah, that's true. You never know when, again, you're going to get stuck or whatnot. And if you have, clothes in these things, yeah, it's a square pillow at the end of it.
Yeah.
You don't have a nice pillowcase, but hey, it works. So adaptable stuff that you can use. And again, different companies make different brands. Again, depends where you're using.
Oh, exactly what you're looking for, yeah, and what your price points are. So,
yeah, one thing I found useful lately, and again, I keep hearing rumblings that the whole liquids restriction is seeing an end at some point.
Really?
Yeah, I thought I read something about that, but it's still there. Having the right bag for those liquids. Because all the time you see passengers that don't have the right bag, or the airport gives their version of bag, which is infinitely smaller than what you think you can take on.
Mm-hmm.
Just to have the ability to move it around from one of your bags to another.
Yeah. And just, also speaking of liquids, making sure, if you've got like your own water bottles and things, make sure, if you've got a nice one.
Yeah. And, from a crew perspective, one thing that we find rather annoying is you're doing service and someone shoves a massive, like, can you fill my 2-liter water bottle, please? Well, if I do that, I'm going to basically write this cart off because now I have to stop. I have to go refill all the water on the cart. So we'd politely be like, yes, we'll come back and fill it later.
Yeah.
So having the right size water bottle is important too.
True. And you have a trick, speaking of like water bottles, like if you're on a flight, you take one with you?
Definitely. I always depart an aircraft with a fully sealed what do you call it? Not reusable, like manufactured.
Yeah, like a bottle of water.
Yeah. because again, if there's going to be a delay situation or something, I always know that I'll have that there. I don't generally buy one to bring onto the plane. I'll rely on the fact that I can get one from them because pretty much every airline will. Well, I mean, if it's ultra low
If it's an
cost
ultra
carrier
low
and you have
cost
to buy
carrier,
it, then I guess you got to buy it. Then you got to bring it on before. But I mean, then you're buying it at the same price in the terminals on the plane. But anyway, point being, leave the aircraft with something. And another time I find this comes into play is when you're going to a country that you don't know the validity of the tap water, or you are in a, I don't know, hostel where you're not quite situated and you just need to have water. You at least have water to take medicine, brush your teeth, get you through till you figure it all out. Yeah, I've always found that a bit of a safety measure, safety blanket kind of thing. Yeah.
Messenger bags aren't as popular as they used to be. But do you do that? Like slip that over stuff to put like documents and stuff, like given your experience in Beijing and Tokyo?
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned the messenger bag because I went through this phase of thinking, oh, that's it. Messenger bag I'm set for life. And then I ended up putting so much stuff that my shoulder was getting really achy. I was like, this doesn't work. Darn it. So a messenger bag is good. I do like it because you have your essentials right on you on body. You can pull your rollerboard. So a messenger bag that can slip over the rollerboard handle is the way to go. But as well, a messenger bag that fully stays closed. I know one of the ones I have and I used for a long time, I don't use it anymore. It has these sort of magnetic snap closures. But if the thing gets tipped, falls, goes upside down, it's going to open. Yeah.
Oh, boy.
So the one I have now is hard clips. Another one I have actually zips the full contents close. So you can throw it upside down and backwards and it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, no, the messenger bag is great. My wife uses a product that they don't make it anymore from Mountain Equipment Co-op, which is a camping provider shop, outdoor supplier. It was the older version of like a mini messenger bag. Like it's kind of, how do I say, smaller than a piece of paper, dimension, size of a tablet, actually even smaller. It was just enough of again, the essentials, passport, wallet, all this kind of stuff, little water bottle, all these kind of things. And she still uses that to this day. So yeah, there was a time when I would carry a lot of stuff, and now it's kind of whittling out because the power of a smartphone is so much that I don't take my big cameras to certain places. So,
and do you take any food? Do you like energy bars or?
I think
I used to.
Yeah, exactly. I used to.
I mean, I'd have like a Cliff Bar or two or something in my bag or a Kind or something, but it's like, it's been a while since I've done that.
Yeah, and I mean, it's gonna sound like bragging, but I haven't flown economy for a while. So
snob.
Yeah, I was banking on the lounge and the food service and leaving that aircraft absolutely stuffed.
Yeah,
but yes, a simple and a boring granola bar. You probably want to advance it to like you said, like a Cliff Bar, something that's got some high proteins. Again, you never know if you're in these situations where you're going to end up and what you're going to need to rely upon for nutrition. Yeah.
And who knows? Maybe the lounge is closed.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. The last thing I have here on my list, which has become a big thing of current, is Apple AirTags or similar.
Yeah.
I think the baggage mayhem of summer of 2022 has eased, I hope. But actually, it shed light on a great idea of being able to track your luggage. So if you can get your Black Friday deal on a set of AirTags, highly recommend it.
And I know there was something I read somewhere about Lufthansa, I think, making a stink about it, AirTags for a little bit, and then people like
trying to ban it and stuff. It's like, really? Yeah.
Well, just because we're keeping better track of our bags than you are.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. They were trying to use some old regulation about technology and
electronics inside whatever, and treating it, I think, maybe like lithium ion or something under the as carry-on or something, or as packed baggage or something, to say it's like a fire hazard or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was interesting. But yeah, the AirTag is good. The technology of how it works. Because, I mean, let's face it, the Apple iPhone technology, iOS, is definitely a big player in the world.
Exactly. Yeah.
No matter where you go.
And given that you mentioned, you have a young one, and you flew with your young one this summer, are there things that either as crew or now as a parent, recommending?
Keep it simple, stupid. Isn't that what it's called? KISS.
I think so. Yeah, kiss. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember as crew watching. There'd be two types of parents. There'd be one that would bring the entire diaper bag, the whole kit, to do a diaper change, and then you'd have those with like this very sleek, slim, I don't know, almost like a wallet type thing.
Okay.
And that's what we do. Is we have this basically a glorified amenity kit, but it's really just a diaper or two, some sort of change pad thing,
Yeah.
and wipes. That's really all you need to change a diaper on a kid on a plane. And it worked so well. We kept the main diaper bag at the seat and never left the seat. Because when you're holding your young one and you're trying to navigate down the aisle, and then you have to stand there and wait around in the galleys, you can't be like, an elephant coming through
Hmm.
and needing space. Very important. It just makes everything go well. And then when you're in the aircraft lavatory, how much space do you really have? And if you have that diaper bag, where are you going to put that bag when you're having to do all
Can
your
you
stuff?
change your child in a closet
Yeah.
with all the stuff that you're carrying,
And you're putting that bag on that floor that we've already talked about.
or the seats down on the toilet in the
Yeah,
but then where are you going to put the kid? So
exactly. Because that table has to come down. So we had that. Again, we had packing cubes galore. All of his toys were in one. So we were able to manage the seat area pretty effectively. And I think, with our upcoming trip, we're going to do it hopefully better,
Mhm.
knowing what we have to do.
Well,
Yeah.
your upcoming one isn't going to be as long, right? It's like
Just the 3 hours
3 hours
to
or
LA.
yeah.
Yeah. Daytime. So that'll be a little bit different. But again, thinking of the seat and the area and the cleanliness and the size of your child and the level of activity and what you need to do, these are all things that kind of speak towards buying stuff to keep it compartmentalized. And you use the same one each time. And that's one thing my wife and I are very good at. Like, we'll identify, say, okay, this is the blue pouch for the toys. This is the whatever pouch for this. And we don't change it.
You don't switch it over, yeah.
Yeah. So you're always looking for it, because especially in the dark, when you're kind of using your X-ray vision to find
Yeah.
that hot pink, whatever, you can see it and you know that it's
Yeah,
what's in there
this
is
is
what's in
toys
there.
bag. This is whatever other bag. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I've seen some chaotic situations on board where there's lack of communication, or things get switched, or they just kind of dump and go, and it just doesn't quite work out so well.
To add with holiday stress.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
And just one final bit, I mean, that we didn't have, but it was talking about, like, bags and connecting bags and putting things together. If you're able to find, they're called J clips. They are fantastic because they will connect to the front of your bag, and then you can put other bags on your bag.
See, we just can't stop. Great. Yeah. Great suggestion of the ability to link stuff up. We've talked about how trolleys are few and far between, or you have to pay for a trolley and you need to move your bags. And the situation came up for me in, I want to say, Tokyo was okay. Beijing for sure. With the whole Olympic situation, pandemic, there was no option for a cart anywhere. Like, they removed the carts, period. And when you go to work the Olympic Games, you have bigger luggage. So again, seat 1A, I foresaw this. And I had this product. The J clip is definitely one way to go, but I had this rubber thing. It looks like a lattice, and you slip one end over. You say bag number one is the one you're actually going to pull. Okay. So you slip it over the handle, the pull out handle, and then it has like this chain of connection, and you wrap it around bag number two's handle and then loop it back and clip it onto the rubber of the device. We'll have
Yeah.
to find the name for this thing. Anyway, I was able to, with one hand and a good amount of strength, of course, pull two fully loaded bags. And I actually had a J clip and I connected it on the end. So I had a 3-bag chain to pull all of this. Now, maneuvering corners was dire, but at least I was able to get moving and get going and, make some distance versus others that had to like move a bag, run back, move the second bag, move it again. And it was just like utter chaos.
You were like the human equivalent of an Australian road train or something.
That's pretty much, yes, exactly. Baggage train. It's crazy. And it was all, I'm surprised I didn't snap this little rubber doohickey that I had, but it was good. It's basically a way to connect the bags through the handles. So yeah, another great gift idea.
Yeah, stocking stuffer or whatever.
Yeah. And these are all the stuff we mentioned. Apart from like pillow and headphones, they're all kind of easy to stash in your bags, like flat, slim, small things you can tuck away because you never know
pockets, whatever. Yeah. So for those traveling all around the world, and for example in the US, Thanksgiving in the US is the busiest travel days of the year. So we'll see how crazy and intense those are, and we watch planes, trains, and automobiles.
Oh yes, classic.
Getting across the country, but best of luck to everybody traveling during holiday seasons, and doing what we can as suggestions for things that might make it a little easier, both shorter and longer haul flights.
Exactly. Fantastic.
Okay, so what do we got in the news here? So looking at things, so because it's holidays, another option that people can buy are vouchers and things for airlines, and so I've got a Condé Nast Traveler article. 9 airlines with premium economy cabins worth splurging on. And having splurged on a premium economy myself in the summer, especially on long haul flights, definitely worth the look. And so essentially they state a few good rules of thumb to keep in mind when deciding whether to spring for that premium economy fare. Usually international carriers and long haul routes have premium economy cabins that offer the most perks, with newer planes like the A350 and classic wide bodies like the A380, Boeing 777, and Boeing 787 Dreamliner usually sporting the majority of the best cabins. So they have 9 airlines that they state are the best premium economy seats that are worth upgrading for, and independently selected by their editors. So the first one they've stated is Emirates. So
yes.
Emirates has
their new premium economy. Looking at the seat, it feels like I want to get into like a Bentley or something.
Oh, nice. Yeah. And seats are available from Dubai to Paris, Charles de Gaulle, London Heathrow, and Sydney, and then Christchurch being added to the list in 2023. Then they've got Qantas on their retrofitted, so the 387 Dreamliners and Airbus 380s. And apparently the test de resistance is the recline function. As the passenger pushes the seat back, several sections of the seat shift, not just the back. Then ANA, All Nippon Airways, pardon me, is another one that they're recommending. They're stating, premium economy on 380s, 787s, and 777s have 38 inches of pitch.
And what's nice is they get full lounge access.
Excellent. Yeah. And they order from the business class drink menu as well. Virgin Atlantic.
Yeah, and Virgin's a good one to look for because they're renewing their fleet in a big way. A350s, they just took some A330 Neos. Yeah.
Then we've got Singapore. Well,
enough said.
Always at the top of the list. So.
Well, what's nice with Singapore is their premium economy comes with Book the Cook.
Yes.
Which is very, very cool. So please refer to our previous episode on
yes, exactly
in-flight meals.
And one that I was a little surprised, but Scandinavian premium economy, they state is worth cashing for. So flights to the US and Asia, 38 inches of pitch, and then Cathay, another good one from Asia Pacific that's always at the top of the customer list. LATAM,
interesting.
I guess, if you're looking for a Latin American flight, good choice. And
Yeah.
then the last one in the list is one I did and found quite comfortable, the Air Canada Premium Economy as well.
Yes. Yeah. I've flown that a number of times. It's great. I mean, you don't get lounge or anything, but just the
But
cabin
you do
experience
get
is very good.
business class meal.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. The one thing to note, again, and looking at various pictures, if you're planning to lie down or if you're trying to move a seat armrest handle up because maybe you have a child or something, premium economy these days, pretty much it doesn't exist.
It feels like you're in bulkhead.
Yeah, like every seat has the armrest with device, screen,
Everything
tray.
inside, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So that's very important to note.
And then you got an interesting article about cost overruns and things going
Yeah,
on.
speaking of getting fancy, so this is from skiff.com. Boeing getting crushed on the Trump era Air Force One deal. This has been
financial
around for a
numbers came
while.
out recently, yes.
Yeah, because the theory was that former President Trump wanted to put brand new Air Force Ones in the sky. So now Boeing said on Wednesday that they're going to take a new 766 million charge on its 2018 billion contract to build 2 new aircraft.
Wow.
So many setbacks. Like, it's just the amount that Boeing is taking for a hit on this is crazy. They previously booked up 1.1 billion in charges on the program, and now actually has racked up 1.9 billion in losses.
Yikes.
It's 3 years behind.
Yeah.
You see the words here, quote unquote, ridiculous and too expensive. They're meant to be 747-800s, the 8Is. It's sort of, airborne White Houses. And we all kind of know what the purpose of it is. So is this going to happen? Who knows? This is a good one to watch.
And in Boeing's situation with everything that happened with the MAX at the same time affecting profit margins and things, not the best time to be eating losses as well.
Yeah.
And the pandemic to go with it. So
exactly. We'll see. We'll see what happens.
Yeah. Exactly.
All right.
Maybe by 2030.
Yeah, exactly.
Excellent. So that wraps up Experience 67 of the Seat 1A podcast. If you liked this podcast experience, be sure to rate us and subscribe. Tell your friends and fellow travelers about us. Make sure you visit us at podcast.seat1a.org for complete show notes. That's Sierra Echo Alpha Tango, the number 1 alpha.org. Feedback, addenda, letting us know where we've messed up. You can send all of that to stories, STORIES, at seat1a.org. If you'd like to support the show financially, we have a page at Patreon, patreon.com/seat1a. Links are included in the show notes.
And here's what you can look forward to in upcoming Seat 1A podcast experiences. We will talk about what it's like traveling with senior citizens or as a senior citizen. And then we'll also take a look at the airport hotel experience. More interviews. We do have one that we just recorded that we're going to review pretty soon here. And then we'll also take a refresh at the world of ticketing and e-tickets and what it's like handling your tickets. As always, we look forward to your stories and travel adventures. If you have something crazy that you've just been through that you would like us to discuss or take a look at, you just want to share with us, or if you have a topic that you think would be interesting for our podcast, please do let us know.
Excellent. So until the next time, I'm Geoff. Thanks for listening.
And I'm Vinod. You're clear for takeoff. Have a great flight.